Council will come to order.
I didn't hear anything. Really, I missed it.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Counselor Perez?
Present.
Present. Counselor Click Bruce?
Present.
Present. Counselor Curran? Absent. Counselor Walsh?
Present.
Present. Counselor Brown?
Present.
Present. Counselor Davila? Absent. Counselor Hurst?
Present.
Present. Counselor Edwards?
Present.
Present. Counselor Allen?
Present.
Present. Counselor Govan?
Present.
Present. Counselor Fenton?
Present.
Present. Counselor Whitfield? Absent. Counselor Letterman?
Present. Will the council and guests please rise and join us in a moment of silence? Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you please recognize Councilor Curran?
Counselor Curran?
Thank
Present.
you. Before we begin this evening, just a couple of announcements. Please let the record reflect that Councilor Walsh, Councilor Hurst, and Councilor Brown are participating in the proceedings remotely. Councilors are reminded that your microphones are live and broadcasting at all times. If your green light is on, your microphone is live and broadcasting. If you wish to mute your microphone temporarily, please hold your hand over the push button. That will result in your microphone being muted for as long as your hand is held over it. Councilors are also reminded that due to the seated mics that are currently necessary, that if you wish to be recognized to speak, you should stand to be recognized and then deliver your remarks from the seated position. Also, a reminder to councilors who are participating remotely this evening, in line with what we did at our last hearing, if individuals are standing in the chamber to speak and also have their hands raised in the queue remotely, I'm going to recognize them in an alternating pattern. So we'll be recognizing an individual in the queue and then an individual in person. Should there be nobody in the queue or in person, we'll just proceed in the order that individuals have risen. The final announcement is that the Health Commissioner, Helen Calton Harris, has recommended that individuals consider wearing masks when they are not speaking in the chamber. And for individuals who are in need of a mask, we do have masks available for you at the entrance. At this time, I'll ask if there are any reports of committee. Councilor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. In lieu of Councilor Whitfield not being available to run the Finance Committee meeting, which was held at 5:30 today, she asked me to chair the meeting. There were, I believe, 9 items. All the items were, we didn't take a vote on anything. We discussed all 9 items. There was extensive discussion on the pension-related items. No opinion taken one way or the other, or no vote taken one way or the other, but good questions about the pension. There are 2 pension-related items on the agenda tonight. But the meeting was about 45 minutes or so, and all items were discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Are there any further reports of committee? Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 committee reports. The General Government Committee met recently to discuss the proposed changes to what I'll refer to as the dumpster ordinance. The dumpster ordinance was first heard at the regular meeting for first step before the council on September 19th. It was sent to the General Government Committee at that time. On September 29th, there was a meeting that was held. Councilors in attendance were Councilors Allen, Letterman, Perez, Hurst, and Click Bruce. On October 3rd, the meeting of the regular council took place for first step, which was passed at that time. There was a desire from members of the council that an additional committee meeting be held. I called and scheduled that meeting, which took place, and you see, On October 11th at 5 o'clock, counselors in attendance were Counselors Hurst, Walsh, Allen, Edwards, Click Bruce, Govan, Whitfield, and Commissioner Calvi. There were no representatives from the dumpster industry that were present at that meeting. However, subsequent to that meeting, Counselor Hurst produced an email from one of the companies that we had previously tried reaching, who indicated that they'd like some more time to meet with the commissioner to talk about some of the moving pieces of it. And so with that, Mr. President, I think that that's an appropriate outcome, and at the appropriate time, I would be making a motion that we refer that matter to the General Government Committee tonight.
Thank you, Counselor Fenton. Counselor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. On October 3rd, October 4th, the Maintenance and Development Committee met to discuss the streetlight outage. And we also discussed the, what are those called? The new lights that are coming in 2024.
LED.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't bring my notes with me. However, we did meet and we got some good information about the 2024 lights. We had a few residents, well, a resident complain about the streetlights that are out, and we're still working on trying to find solutions to that. I didn't bring my notes, so I'm not sure who was in attendance right now, but I will submit a report to the committee.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Madam Clerk, will you please recognize Counselor Davila?
Counselor Davila?
Present.
Present.
Thank you. Are there any further reports of committee? Counselor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening to everybody. Mr. President, the Public Safety Committee met today as a follow-up with the order of land taking for 65 Sumner Avenue. That's the old Friendlies. As you may recall, last time we met, the city was proposing to take over the land for $1.125 million. We sent it to committee. Subsequently, the city administration met with the Forest Park Civic Association. They support the project, particularly because from a public safety standpoint, it's going to be used for the pickup and drop-off of the children. And anybody knows that that area from what used to be the old Friendlies all the way down to Long Hill Street is becoming very challenging with traffic. So this makes sense for the kids, for the pickup and the drop-off. It's also going to add an extra 80 parking spots to the city, to the school rather, and also my understanding is that they're going to keep the building as it is an iconic and a landmark for the neighborhood, but also they're going to be allowing people to park there under snowstorms, which is a plus for the whole neighborhood. So we voted to bring it to the full attention of the council today, and everybody is pretty content with it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Davila. Counselor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. The General Government Committee also met on October 5th at 4:30. We met to discuss the proposed ordinance from Counselor Hurst relative to requiring administrative warrants for municipal agents to go on to private property. We were joined by counselors at that meeting, and I regret that I don't have a list of those who were in attendance, but we were also joined by representatives of the Law Department, the Board of Assessors, and the Building Department. And the consensus at that time was that there's some additional follow-up regarding the implications of requiring administrative warrants in all cases, and we'll have to have a follow-up committee meeting on that at a future date.
Thank you, Counselor Fenton. Are there any further reports of committee this evening? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept the reports.
On accepting the reports, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield, absent. Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The reports are accepted. Madam Clerk, please call the first item.
The first item on the agenda is the FY22 Final Law Department Expense Report.
Is there anybody present to speak to this item?
I am.
Attorney D'Souza?
I am here to speak to that, but I would have Mr. Burns go first.
Mr. Burns?
Thank you, Attorney D'Souza. Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, we are presenting the final Law Department expenditure report for fiscal year 2022. The total expenditures during the fiscal year, $1.7 million, and the return to the general fund on June 30th is $3.2 million. This will become part of the free cash calculation. Attorney D'Souza can answer any specific questions on expenditures contained within the report.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Are there any questions, comments, or deliberation among the council? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept the report.
On accepting the report, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield absent. Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The report is accepted. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Next item is to change the zoning of the property known as Southside Central Street. This is a referral vote.
Item 2 is on for referral. No action is needed by the council. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
The next item is the Eversource gas petition for Newberry Street.
Is there anybody here to speak to this item?
Hi, this is Matthew Nichols, Eversource Gas, Springfield.
Mr. Nichols, the floor is yours.
Yep, so this project has been brought before council a couple times this year. You guys may have remembered seeing it before, but essentially it's just replacing approximately 3,000 feet of cast iron main on Newberry Street and adjacent side streets. It's part of our typical cast iron replacement plan, just running new plastic and retiring old, 100-year-old cast iron.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Are there any questions from the council? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to approve the petition.
On approving the petition, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield absent. Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The petition is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
The next item is a petition from Eversource for Sheffield Street.
Is there anybody present to speak to this item?
Kevin Roy from Springfield College.
The floor is yours.
Yes, we're looking to cross Sheffield Street with some conduits to provide power to our new health science building there. And that's we're crossing because Eversource has their transformer in a small utility yard on our property on the other side of the street.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to approve the petition.
On approving the petition, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield absent. Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The petition is approved. Madam Clerk, can you please recognize Counselor Whitfield, who has just joined remotely?
Counselor Whitfield.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before you call item 5, we're entering the orders category. Just for the record, items 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12 will require suspension of Rule 19, and in keeping with our past practice, we'll take the Rule 19 suspension consideration at the conclusion of the orders section. Madam Clerk, please call item 5.
Item 5 is an order approving an increase to the maximum base amount.
Capo Plant.
Thank you, Mr. President. The order that is sponsored by the mayor increases the base for our retirees from $13,000 to $14,000 and provides a cost of living adjustment. We think at the time during the recession that we're having now that this is the time to at least give our retirees an additional, every little bit helps, and so we're asking for the council's support.
Thank you, Capo Plant. Are there any questions, comments, or deliberation among the council? Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks, TJ. I don't think you were at the Finance Committee meeting, but we talked about this there and talked about the impact of an increase in the base. Just so everybody knows, I'm not sure I'm saying this right, so correct me, Pat, if it needs to be said differently than the way I say it, but it's not a $1,000 increase. It's a $1,000 increase in the base on which the calculation is done. So the impact at 3% is $30 a year for a pension person in the pension system. It's, you know, the pension system has been challenged the last few years for sure, and we've been pretty responsible. Not pretty responsible. We've been incredibly responsible as a city, both the mayor, the finance team, and the city council. There's not been an increase in this base since fiscal year 2013, which is 10 years ago. So this is a tough one to think about. For myself, at the Finance Committee meeting, we talked, there were several tough questions about, is this something that we should do at this time, et cetera. So I'm saying that I'm supporting this because I think, I don't think the pension people should be held back from getting a small increase in the base for their pension because of the situation that the pension has been in for 10 years or for longer. We've done everything we can. We've paid this year's payment already on July 1st. Pat Burns can speak more directly about that. But the annual payment that is made to the pension plan is paid. It's usually the first check of the year that's paid. It's paid in the first week of July. This year's payment was $82 million or thereabouts for the whole city, 57 million came from the city of Springfield proper, not the teachers or the water and sewer or Springfield Housing Authority. Those are the three other groups that are part of our pension plan. You know, you could ask, like, at a time like this, you know, where we've been in tough straits with our pension, which wasn't brought on by anybody here. We're the ones fixing a problem, none of which, not a problem that any of us had anything to do with creating. So I just kind of think that we've been incredibly responsible. We were 26% funded at the beginning of this project, if you will, to improve it. We're now around 35, 36% funded. It's not where we want to be, but our people who receive pension benefits from us have not been the people who put us in this situation. Some people may decide this is not something they want to approve at this time. I personally think it's been 10 years since the base changed, and the increase for this, if we vote for this tonight, the increase on our liability, our unfunded liability, which is now $898 million, it will add $6 million to it, so it'll be $904 million. But the increase in next year's payment will be $600,000, which is not a small amount of money, but it is considering that we'll be paying 60 some odd million next July. If we vote for this tonight, it would add around $600,000 to that payment. Those are my comments on it. Pat, feel free to, if you want to comment on what I've said or the accuracy of it or any of your own feelings, if that's all right, Mr. President.
Mr. Burns?
To do it.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. I think you summed it up very well. The increase is going to add $6.7 million to our unfunded liability. That 600,000 will be spread over all the member groups, so the impact to the city is more in the range of about $370,000 on a yearly basis, and that'll increase at 9.2% as our funding schedule is currently designed with that 9.2% increase.
Councillor Allen, does that conclude your remarks?
I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. Councillor Walsh, followed by Councillor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did attend the Finance Committee meeting and listen to the concerns. So I'd like to ask TJ a question. I want to start out by saying that I'm supporting the increase for the retirees and survivors. Do you share those same concerns that this might not be a good thing to do?
So this is one of those delicate balance that we're trying to walk the fine line is, I think it's, okay for us to give the retirees a cost of living adjustment and raise the base. I understand that it adds 6.7 million to our liability. This is a problem we've had, going on for years. And I just don't know if I want to take it out on the retirees and not give them the cost of living adjustment and move the base while we have so much other stuff we need to do with the retirement system.
Okay, well, thank you. I wanted to hear both sides. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Questions, PJ, for you or Pat or whoever gets to the podium first, I guess. My apologies, I have to give you my back as my seat requires that I give you my back. If I understand it correctly, the annual cost for the city is going to be a little over $300,000 per year.
Well, it's 600,000 across the system roughly, and 300,000 or so for the city of Springfield.
Very well. Now, how much does that translate for the average retiree in the city in terms of like how much more can they, if possible?
I don't know if you have the number.
The increase translates into $30 per year.
That's what I thought Councilor Allen had said. Okay, so it's not, now is that going to be increased every year, or do we have to vote again the following year?
Now, once this is voted on, it'll be the base going forward.
I understand very well. Now, we talked about this is going to increase the pension liability to a little over $900 million. This wise body a couple of months back voted to authorize the city for a bond. If we choose to move forward with that, maybe it's a TJ question, would that be reflected on that, or is that conversation hasn't happened yet?
The amount that we would need to borrow would then increase by this $6.7 million. So I believe the bond authorization at the time that's still on the books is $755 million. So that would possibly have to be revisited and increased. But
Okay.
that isn't a necessity. We could amortize that amount and just pay it on a yearly basis, similar like what we're doing now.
Right, and I recall because of the interest rate going back, the city decided to scrap the project. Very well, thank you, and I will be more than glad to support this. I wish the increase could be more. As we know, the cost of living is going up, so this is not a want, this is a need, and this is the right moral thing to do for retirees. So thank you, gentlemen. I will be thrilled to be voting for this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Davila. Councillor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. So of course, we all want to support the retirees. We also want to make sure that we have all the information when we make the decision. And in the Finance Subcommittee meeting, it was determined that the retirees per month will get about $2.50 increase per check. each year, year over year, because the $30 will equal that, $30 a year. However, we will incur a $600,000 a year additional debt to our pension. And I believe that Pat Burns said that we don't start paying that back for 2 years. It will amortize over 8 years, I guess. We'll pay 8 years back. So it could roughly be $1 million if we get more employees that enter the retirement system. Is more. If we get less folks in the retirement system, it could be a little bit less. So we just got to take everything into consideration. While we want to definitely support an increase for the retirees, is it a good time to do it now, this year? Or should we get our pension in a better position? Should we fund it better and then make the decision to increase the base pay of the retirement fund? So it's hard. It's hard for me seeing that we probably are entering into a recession. Do we want to increase our pension liability? And when we do things like that, you have to take money from a different source. A lot of times that cause layoffs and furloughs and things like that, because this is an obligation that we have to pay regardless. So it is a really difficult decision to make. And I know we are in unprecedented times. $2.50 in a check may make a difference. I'm not really sure. I know it makes a difference year over year, but do we have to make the decision now or see where the economy falls and then, you know, maybe do the increase when the economy is more stable? So I'm just putting those things on the table. You know, I don't want anyone in the retirement system to be upset with me, but we have to think about the city as a whole, and a $2.50 increase right now, does that make the best fiduciary sense of the city council? So those are my comments, and I just wanted to lay everything out on the table.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Are there any further questions, comments, or deliberation from the council? Councilor Allen?
I don't have a comment from myself right now, but I see another member of the retirement board standing behind Pat Burns. I think it's Mr. Moynihan or Mr. Scanlon. I'm not sure. I think we always hear from Pat, who's terrific, but I think it would be appropriate to hear from another member of the retirement board. I assume that's what you're there for.
Sir,
That's correct.
Can you
Thank
please
you.
state
My name is
your-
Robert
There
Moynihan.
you go.
Presently, I'm the chairman of the Springfield Retirement System. We have tried to work very close hands with the city due to the deficit that we had in our fund. Unfortunately, we have done everything we can to try and make it better. Our system was put into the PRIM, which is the state-run system. We do not have any other means of establishing money through any other lenders or anything else. We strictly deal with PRIM. We've had excellent returns from them, and I think the retirement board as a whole has been very fiduciary in looking at this. It has not been done in 8-9 years now, and as a result, I think the retirees deserve a small increase in their COLA so that it's only figured on the first 14,000. That's all we're asking, is a small increase to help the retirees. Since the inflation continues to increase, we would hope that you would approve our request, and so that we can continue to try and work for the city of Springfield in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any further questions, comments, or deliberation among the council prior to voting? Councilor Govan?
Hi, thank you so much, Mr. President. The increase is like so minimal, and I feel so bad that it's so small. The cost of living increase never keeps up with the salaries that are made, right? Because right now, I used to buy a a pastry that was like $4. I went to the store yesterday, it was $7. So this $2 a month that, you know, the retirees are going to be getting, to me, it's embarrassing. And I wish that there was a way that we could figure out a way to do more. You know, I will be in support of it because the retirees want it and need it. But I really wish that there was a way that we could just find a way to do something different. So that's just my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Are there any further questions, comments, or deliberation? Councilor Allen?
Thanks. I don't have anything myself further, but I was just wondering, as CAFO, if we could ask Mr. Plant to just come up and say if he supports this, because this will, obviously, he has to have the macro view of our finances. So if you could just give us...
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is I think I agree with everyone. And financially, it's, you know, a bigger hit to our overall pension system, but I think at this time, the needs of the retirees, we just, you know, adding that on isn't going to break the system any more than it's already been, you know, broken, or any more than we're trying to dig ourselves out of. But I just, you know, I know it's a small amount of money, but I think it sends the right signal.
Thank you.
Councilor Whitfield?
Thank you, President. And I just want to reiterate one more time that I'm totally not against it. I just want us to be mindful of the decision we're making. I'm with Councilor Govan. I wish we could do something different that may not impact the payments that we have to make year over year. Because in the instance that there is a recession, there's no going back. We can't go back and undo this increase. And I know that we want to do something for the retirees, but could we have thought about doing something with ARPA funds, TJ, or anything else to give the retirees some type of boost or some type of payment?
So Comptroller Burns and I thought about a couple other ideas that we pitched to the retirement board, but unfortunately the state said we were not allowed to give them. We were going to do them kind of a cash bonus or a stipend of sorts, and the state said no.
Oh, the state said no?
Yeah.
This is like the best thing we could do. You know, it's a really hard decision, because do you want to have this debt year over year, and then, you know, we enter into recession, and we know what that's like. But, you know, we'll leave it up to the body. I appreciate all the from the retirement board. I know you guys are trying to also do the best that you can for the retirees. So that's my final comment on it.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Are there any further questions, comments, or deliberation among the council? Councilor Perez.
You know, as I sit here and hearing that for the past almost 10 years, there have been no increase, and we are figuring out $2 and change for the increase. I know it's going to be an impact, but I think that the retired board has waited almost 10 years for this increase. I am in support of it because of the matter. So, you know, like my colleague Govan said, anything that you buy now, merchandise has been increased. And I'm lucky that I could still limit it. I could afford it. I could imagine being in retirement. So therefore, I will be in support of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Perez. Are there any further questions, comments, or deliberation from the council? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for approval.
On approving the order, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
No.
No, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient and the order is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
The next item is a supplemental budget increase in state aid in the amount of $3,343,062.
CAFO Plant.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an update to the school department's budget. We got additional $3.3 million in Chapter 70 state aid when the final budget was passed. We're looking for the council to increase the appropriation to school department.
Are there any questions from the council? Seeing no questions, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll.
Counselor Perez?
Yes.
I have a question, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk, please suspend the roll call. Counselor Brown, you are recognized.
Now, this money is going to the actual schools themselves. What is it going to be used for?
They're actually just putting it into a reserve for contingency since their budget was balanced and adopted this new money. They do not have a special appropriation for it as of yet.
Okay, because I've mentioned this a couple times, and I have visited the schools, and a lot of the schools' facilities, central locker room, the visitors have to use the main one. It's absolutely horrendous. Commerce locker room, Counselor Click Bruce can atone to that. The gym and the facilities, the locker rooms are horrible. They said, like, I guess they sub them out to someone else. Why are the locker rooms like? I mean, they're literally moldy and decaying. Do you know who handles that? Who handles that stuff?
So that would be the facilities department under Pat Sullivan and John Carrigan, who would then bring it to the school department to see if they can get an appropriation through the school department. If it's beyond $150,000 worth of repairs, it becomes a city expenditure that we would need to issue debt and authorize bonds for.
Is there a way that this funding can be used to repair some of the locker room facilities?
I'll have to talk to the superintendent and the school committee about that. I'm not sure exactly, depending on how much the expenditure would be. So I'd have to ask them.
Okay, I'd like to I'll give you talk to you a little later about after. Okay.
Call me and we'll
all right.
talk
Thank
about
you.
it.
Thank you for what you do, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Brown. Are there any further questions from the council? Seeing no further questions, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to approve the order.
On approving the order, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes, the votes are sufficient and the supplemental budget increase is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
The next item is Prevention and Early Childhood Services Grant in the amount of $3 million, or $300,000.
CAFO, Plant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure if Helen Colton-Harris is here, so this is a
I am here. I am here.
Perfect.
Thank
Commissioner
you very
Colton-Harris.
much, TJ. I appreciate your willingness to stand for me. This $300,000 is to support early childhood education, and our partnership with that grant is square one. What this grant will do will give us the opportunity to work with parents of young children in preschool who may be experiencing substance use disorders. So this really is to work with those parents. Year one is $112,500. That's FY23. FY24 is $187,500. That is the $300,000 I am asking the council's approval for.
Thank you, Commissioner Colton-Harris. Are there any questions for the commissioner? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll. Madam Clerk, before you do that, Counselor Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is more of a statement. I know I always give Pat a shout out, but I also have to commend Commissioner Helen Colton for the work that she's always does as far as the community. I think this is something that's very important, especially when it's coming to our kids and our community. So I always commend you with the different programs that you come up with to impact the community. And this one is really a good partnership, being with Square One and with the city. So I definitely thank you for all your hard work, Commissioner. And thank you. Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Are there any further questions for the Commissioner? Seeing no further questions, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to accept the grant.
On accepting the grant, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The order is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Next item is supplemental budget increase in state aid in the amount of $1,123,382.
CAFO plant.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the members, this is similar to the Chapter 70 increase. It's unrestricted general government aid that was increased by the state for the city. And we're asking for $500,000 to go towards the police department for the contract monitor, and then the remaining balance goes to reserve for contingencies to cover for utilities or anticipated increases in utilities for the winter months.
Thank you, Mr. CAFO. Are there any questions for CAFO plant? Seeing none,
Mr. President.
Councilor Davila.
Thank you. Good evening, TJ. Did you say that $500,000 is going to go for the monitor?
Yeah, the contract, the compliance monitor for the Department of Justice that came originally this summertime. We were going to use reserve, but now since we have this additional appropriation, we figured it made more sense to use the additional appropriation from the state.
Okay, you already answered my question. I was going to ask. I thought they had told us that they had identified where the money was coming from.
So we
Like
have
a
3
month
months
ago.
of the contract covered through an existing appropriation with a hope to replenish that appropriation for the full $500,000 for the year. But we've identified 3 months worth of it, so we had time to figure this all out.
Okay. All right. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to approve the order.
On approving the order, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The order is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
The next item is a cultural investment portfolio grant in the amount of $20,000, no match required.
Is there anybody here to speak to this item? This is item 9, the Cultural Investment Portfolio Grant.
Sorry, Mr. President. I thought it was under 25,000, so I wasn't sure. This is a competitive grant that is from the Mass Cultural Council for $20,000 to be used at the 9 branches for equipment and materials for the libraries.
Are there any questions for the CAPO on the grant? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept the grant.
On accepting the grant, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst. Away, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The grant is accepted. Madam Clerk, please call item 10.
Item 10 is an order approving an increase to the retirement board member annual stipends to $4,500.
Is there anybody here to speak to this item?
Mr. President, I guess I don't know if I'm here to speak to the item because we're kind of indifferent to it. This is a vote taken by the retirement board to increase their annual stipend from $3,000 to $4,500. Happy if it goes to committee to discuss it further, if you'd like us to do that.
Thank you, Capo Plant. Are there any questions, comments, or deliberation on the order? Counselor Whitfield, followed by Counselor Davila.
I make a motion to send it to committee.
Motion has been made by Counselor Whitfield to send the item to committee. It's been seconded by Counselor Perez. Is there any debate on the motion to committee? Counselor Davila on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I will be supporting the motion to committee. But in the meantime, TJ, can you, how did this determination was made? I know the retirement board voted, but can you give me some rhyme and reason how this number was acquired, that $1,500 increase?
Well, the retirement board took a vote in the affirmative to increase the stipend from $3,000 to $4,500. That was not necessarily something that the city authorized. It's something the retirement board did, and it's within, if it's granted, it's within the appropriation that's going to be given to the retirement board every year.
I see. There's nobody here from the retirement board? No? Okay. Yeah, Mr. President, I think I agree with TJ. I think that this should go to committee. And I don't want to belittle the point, sir, but when I saw this, it kind of like scratched my head because we have, Mr. President, a total of 21 boards and commissions throughout the city. From the EMS Commission, for the Police Commission, Personnel Board, Board of Public Works, Board of Assessors. I went with them all, but we have a total of 21. Of that, Mr. President, of those 21 boards, according to the information that I was provided, only 4 boards get a stipend. The retirement board already gets $3,000, I believe it's per member. The election commission gets $600. The zoning board of appeals, they get $30 per meeting, and the chairman gets $40. And the board of public works, they have 3 members, and they get $25 per meeting. So I definitely want to see some rhyme and reason for this. I also think, Mr. President, that we should streamline the stipends for the boards and commission. I don't fully understand why only 4 boards get it. I'm sure there's stuff in the charter perhaps, or we need more clarity on this. If the information that is for the in the city website for the public meetings is correct, for example, the election commission, according to what's public knowledge, only met once last year. Is that incorrect? You're looking at me, Madam Clerk. Is that
Councilor Davila, I'm just listening to your remarks.
No, the clerk just waved her hand at me. I want to make sure if I'm speaking correctly,
Oh, I'm
please.
just typing.
Oh, you type. Okay, so according to what's up public, at least on the city website, the election commission only met once, and they got $600. So with that being said, I think that the going to committee is very wise. Again, I don't want to belittle the point, but I do have a plethora of questions, and I definitely I request, or somebody from the retirement board should be at the meeting so that they can explain to us how they came up with the $1,500 increase when they already are the highest paid board in the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Councilor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. I think the move to committee is a reasonable move. I think Councilor Davila brings up some interesting issues, and we've been looking at boards and commissions, et cetera. So it's very reasonable to put it in committee, I think. I do want to just point out, though, that this is the board, the responsibility they've had to kind of manage, along with the city council and the mayor, but manage ourselves through this excruciating kind of stressful situation we've been in with the pension. It's been a difficult job, and they've done a great job of it, in my opinion. So while I think it's logical to discuss this in committee along with some other things, I don't want to lose the thought that the job they've had dealing with the poorest funded pension system in the state of Massachusetts has been, they've kept their eye on the ball. When I've been to their meetings, they're on the ball with the things, and I think they deserve some consideration once we get through the committee process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Is there any further debate on the motion? The motion is to refer this item to committee. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would have to agree with Councilor Allen. I do believe that we should also even take it and Councilor Davlia, I think we should take it a step further and try to figure out why we're on the discussion of committees. As a council body, think about how we can actually use some rainy day funding and things to pay the rest of the committees. I don't think that what they're asking for is too much money. I do know what the neighborhood councils have to actually do day in and day out. Some of them are really committed and they put in a lot of their own money. So, I would really love to see the day where we could pay every single committee that's out there receive funding. But I do agree we should speak about it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Councilor Curran.
Just quick commentary. Due to the level of responsibility of some of these boards, I do not think that an increase in the stipend is out of question or out of line. In fact, just to echo some of my colleagues' comments, we really should look across the board at some of the responsibilities that these boards have, especially not only the retirement committee, retirement board, but also the newly formed police commission, and that we should really look as a council, and I hope the administration and the CAFO look at re-examining these boards and commissions across the spectrum, and perhaps providing significant boosts in their stipends. And again, not only the retirement board, but also the newly formed police commission. And
Thank you, Councilor Curran. Is there any further discussion on the motion? The motion is to refer the item to committee. Councilor Whitfield on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't disagree that the retirement board works hard. It's still our fiduciary responsibility to figure out how they came to a $1,500 increase amount. Is that a fair amount? Because if we don't take those additional steps, then every paid commission or any department will come to us and say, well, we just want to increase to any amount. And so we need to have these discussions to make sure the increase is a fair and accurate and just amount. And that's the reason that I agree with the motion to committee. Not saying that a $1,500 increase isn't the right amount, but we need to make sure we have a discussion and make sure that it's fair and accurate on how they came to the amount. And if that's not the amount, maybe it could be more or a little less, but we should definitely discuss it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on referring this item to committee.
On referring the item to committee, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. This item will be referred to the General Government Committee. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Next item is Springfield City Library donation in the amount of $2,000.
there anybody here to speak to the donation? CAFO Plant.
Yeah, so this is two separate donations, a $2,000 donation for adult reading materials at East Forest Park Branch and a $50 donation for children's books at the East Forest Park Branch.
Are there any questions on item 11? Seeing no questions, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to approve the donation, accept the donation.
On accepting the donation, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The donation is accepted. Madam Clerk, please call item 12.
Item 12 is Springfield City Library donation in the amount of $50.
The CAFO has already spoken to this donation. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, is there, Madam Clerk, please call the roll without objection on accepting the donation.
On accepting the donation, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The donations are accepted. Mr. Plant, please let the benefactors know they have the thanks of the Springfield City Council. Before we take item 13, I'd like to handle the Rule 19 suspension. Is there a motion to suspend Rule 19 for item 6, item 7, item 8, item 9, item 11, and item 12?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Counselor Allen. It was seconded by Counselor Govan. Is there any discussion on the motion to suspend Rule 19 for the aforementioned items? Seeing no discussion, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept or to suspend Rule 19 for the aforementioned items.
On the suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. Rule 19 is suspended. Madam Clerk, please call item 13.
Item 13 is an order approving Amendment 12 to the Court Square Urban Renewal Plan.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Amanda Pham, Executive Director of the Springfield Redevelopment Authority, 94 Jeunesse Street, Springfield. Thank you, Mr. President, evening councilors. We are here today to present to you the final amendment number 12 to the Court Square Urban Renewal Plan. This amendment is a culmination of 3 years of intensive urban planning in the area, which include both the Main Street Convention District as well as the Northeast Downtown District. For decades, the Urban Renewal Plan has been a guiding document and tool for some of the most significant developments that we've seen downtown. Amendment 12 seeks to expand and update the plan area and to respond to area's needs in downtown. Specifically, this amendment expands the plan area to incorporate a large part of the Northeast Downtown District, which has significant inventory of underutilized buildings, vacant lots, and surface parking lots, which negatively impact the economic conditions of the redevelopment and activation of the area. Urban renewal is a public strategy for the redevelopment of areas that are considered underutilized, substandard, or economically distressed and are beyond the ability of the private market alone to address. Once approved, an urban renewal plan can provide a range of actions under Mass General Law 121B to promote and attract development to an area. Additionally, the urban renewal plan are helpful in securing federal and state resources to advance development activities in a planned area. This urban renewal plan amendment incorporates input that was received from public outreach efforts undertaken during the planning process of both documents mentioned, and is the basis for the objectives, recommendations, and guidelines within the activity area. Early in the planning stages, the Redevelopment Authority established a citizen advisory committee comprised of representative groups downtown, stakeholders committed to the well-being and future development. The committee consisted of representation from Councilor Perez, the presidents of the Armory Quadrangle Civic Association, South End Community Center, South End Citizens Council, and the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. Additionally, many public owner and stakeholder meetings were organized to further discuss the plan amendment process and recommendations. Furthermore, the amendment drafts were posted for public comment on the SRA's website and discussed at key stages of its development with the Economic Development Subcommittee, starting back from April of 2022. Approval of this amendment and consolidated plan establishes the city's vision for the area over the next 15 years, provides the requisite tools, guidelines, and strategies for successful implementation, and affirms the city's commitment to improve the existing substandard conditions through viable public and private investment and redevelopment activities. With this, I would like to reintroduce you to our consulting team that's joining us remotely to provide a presentation. We have Tim Brangle from the Chicago Consulting Studios and Jeff Vassar of BSC Group.
Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Would it be possible to allow share screen?
Give us 1 moment on that, and
Thank
our
you.
techs will grant you that access. You should now be able to share your screen.
Very good. Thank you. Is this coming through?
Yes.
Yes. Wonderful. Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff Vassar from BCS Group.
Thank you, Tim. Again, Jeff Vassar with the BSC Group, and we have been working with the Chicago Consultant Studio, as well as staff of the SRA to pull together this Amendment 12 for the Court Square Urban Renewal Plan. Tim, if you could move along. As Amanda said, this plan really, urban renewal plans are really intended to address areas within a community that have shown years of disinvestment, or also cases where there may have been a recent disaster that has damaged a lot of property, and that property has not been redeveloped by its own means through private investment, and therefore a redevelopment authority needs to step in and help kind of jumpstart economic investment in these areas. So what you have on the screen now are the two what we call project activity areas that we're focused on in this Court Square Urban Renewal Plan Amendment 12. The image, the map on the left shows the project activity area 12B, which is also referred to as the Northeast Downtown District. And as you may recall, there was a master plan done for the Northeast Downtown District to really show the potential of how that area could be revitalized, rebuilt, rehabilitated, just off the core of the downtown area. And because of that plan and the need for SRA involvement to really help spearhead investment in that area, the boundary of the current urban renewal plan was expanded to include most of what you're seeing as the Northeast Downtown District, or Project Activity Area 12B. The map on your right shows the area around the Convention Center, MGM, Stockbridge, Court residential area. And in that area, as you know, there has been some investment, especially in the casino, but the city hasn't seen a lot of the spin-off investment that was expected to come after the investment in the casino and some of the other properties in that area. And as you will see on a couple of the slides moving forward, there are still a number of areas, properties that are what we call underutilized. And the SRA feels it's their involvement, again, in attracting investment into those properties would be very helpful to stimulate even further investment in the downtown area. Another thing I should note is on both of these plans, the dark gray shows parcels that are categorized as underutilized parcels. And by underutilized, what we mean is either a vacant parcel, a vacant building on a parcel, or a surface parking lot, which we admit parking is needed in downtown Springfield, but in some areas there's an excessive amount of surface parking, and we feel as though parking could be better handled and some of those lots could lend themselves to redevelopment. Could go ahead, Tim. And just to give you an idea, I'm sure you're all familiar with these areas, but this is an aerial view of the Northeast Downtown District, which was where the gas explosion occurred about 10 years ago. And you can see a number of vacant parcels, some of them surface parking lots, some of them just dirt, some of them have a little bit of grass vegetation growing on them. And within this area, there are still a number of buildings, but unfortunately, a number of them are vacant or greatly underutilized. And as you'll see on some of the slides following this, again, buildings used to be on some of these sites, and due to the blast, they had to be demolished, and no investment has happened since. You could just keep going, Tim. Some of the buildings in that Northeast District are viable for rehabilitation and reuse, but they are not currently being used to their highest potential. Some of them are vacant, some of them are greatly underutilized, and there are a number of buildings in that condition throughout the Northeast District. Again, this is another lot, vacant, hasn't seen any investment in it in a number of years, and even more of these vacant parcels in the Northeast District. Some are small, some are large. And I mention that because part of an urban renewal plan would allow the redevelopment authority, if appropriate, to really help stimulate investment. They could acquire or help facilitate the assemblage of a number of small parcels into larger parcels, which may be more marketable and of more interest to the private sector. Now we're going to go to the downtown area, the convention center district area. And again, you'll see to the far left is Mass Mutual Center. And then you'll see to the lower left is the casino area, MGM. But across Main Street, you'll see a number of surface parking lots. And this is prime real estate area in the heart of your downtown. And these surface parking lots, again, though parking is needed, there's a lot of opportunity here for infill development to make better use of these parcels, bring new jobs, housing, and employment into the downtown area, while hopefully bundling parking into a parking structure which takes up less space but still provides the parking needed for those uses. As you know, we appeared before you a while ago to conduct the public hearing, which is necessary for approval of an urban renewal plan. We heard comments from you, City Council, as well as comments from the public. And in response to those comments, the Redevelopment Authority staff worked with Tim and myself to make some changes to the proposed Court Square Urban Renewal Plan Amendment 12. And one of the changes was to remove 24 parcels from the to be acquired list. These were primarily removed from the Northeast Downtown District. And the ones that removed were parcels, most of the ones that were removed were parcels that where a viable business existed on the parcel and that business also owned the parcel. So the thought was not to displace those businesses in the short term, but in the long term, should there be opportunities on some of those parcels, that's why they are in the plan originally, but based on public comment, those parcels have been removed from the acquisition list. In addition, in response to one of the comments we heard, 2 buildings in the Northeast District that were proposed for demolition have been changed to rehabilitation due to their historic character. There was some concern about the length of time that the Court Square urban renewal plan would be extended. We originally were proposing to extend it to the year 2050. Now we're proposing that it be extended 15 years from the day the State Department of Housing and Community Development approves the plan. They're the final approving authority after it's approved locally. So if that occurs in 2022 or 2023, we would then extend it 15 years from that date. We've also added, again, at the request of what we heard at the public hearing, that every 5 years, the redevelopment authority will review the plan and make adjustments to it as necessary, because the hope is that over that 5-year period, changes occur, investment occurs, opportunities present themselves. So at a minimum, every 5 years, the redevelopment authority would re-examine the plan and make adjustments as necessary. And that would be, the public would be known of those meetings where those potential adjustments were being discussed. And also there was comments about we need to make sure that this plan works for local businesses and local people living in Springfield. There was some language in the plan about that as some of the principles and goals, and we've strengthened that language to really make it clear to people that one of the main purposes of this Amendment 12 is to support local business and provide a balanced mix of housing in the area. So that meaning housing at a variety of price points so that it's available to the entire population depending upon their means. So what are some of the keys to summarize this? I know you've heard about some of these before, but just to summarize for those who may not have listened in prior meetings, this plan, Amendment 12, consolidates relevant information from the last 52 years. The original Court Square urban renewal plan was approved in 1970. There have been 11 amendments. This is Amendment 12, and this will be the first time that all the language and relevant information from all the prior amendments have been repackaged and bundled into one new comprehensive, cohesive document. That'll be much easier for the city staff to use and much easier for any potential investor to look at and understand what the intent is. The plan really focuses on addressing those parcels within those activity areas that are underutilized. And if you remember back to the maps that had some gray on them for certain parcels, those total about 40 acres of underutilized land in the downtown area. The plan also establishes zoning recommendations to support the development that the redevelopment authority and the city also wants to see in the downtown area. And this builds upon, again, those master plans, the Northeast District Plan, as well as the Main Street Convention District Plan that was produced in 2021. And it also bundles and strengthens the guidelines that the redevelopment authority will use to evaluate potential redevelopment projects within the area. There have been guidelines in the past that were approved under prior amendments. Those are urban design guidelines. And this amendment really packages them, makes it very clear what the redevelopment authority in the city is looking for when it comes to new buildings, rehabilitated buildings, public spaces, et cetera, in the downtown area. As was mentioned earlier, extends the life of the urban renewal plan for another 15 years from the date of approval, with periodic review every 5 years or sooner as needed. And most importantly, the plan really reflects the input from the master plans that were done, as well as all the public meetings and the citizens group, to really encourage and help facilitate the redevelopment of priority underutilized parcels, many that have been that way for decades, but really brings the SRA's tools to the forefront to help investors who may be interested in turning around some of these parcels and finding ways to help such investment happen in the downtown area. With that, we're happy to answer any questions, and I would ask that they flow through Amanda. She knows the players here very well and can indicate who might be the best to answer a question. Thank you.
If I might add some comments at the tail end of this, I'll be very short. Tim Sheehan, Chief Development Officer of the city,
Tim.
26 Eckington Street.
You may. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to call your attention to two issues that were reviewed tonight, and I understand this is a lot of information to take in, but one of the pieces that I wanted to showcase here, because it doesn't always happen, is that during the public hearing that you participated in with us, you heard a lot, and we heard a lot, and we responded, and we took into account a lot of the communication that came out of that meeting, and adjustments were made accordingly so that the concerns that were raised by many of the businesses in that northeastern district ultimately got resolved to a favorable condition. We had additional communications with the businesses. We prepared a reasonable approach to addressing as many of the concerns as we could, and I think we got to resolution on as many as we possibly could. I also want to draw your attention to the photographs that you looked at tonight. I think as a deliberative body, you certainly can see that there's a demonstrated need for this plan, especially in that northeast corner, and to keep the protections of the plan throughout the downtown. When you look at, areas that should be redeveloped with activity on them, and we're looking at barren land and vacant parking lots, and buildings that have been underutilized, not for just since the blast, but decades before the blast. It's critical that we need to move forward with a plan that basically encourages redevelopment and supports redevelopment in these areas and speaks to the private sector market to bring about that redevelopment in those areas. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Sheehan, and to your team for their presentation. Are there any questions from the council? Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank Tim, Amanda, other Tim, and Jeff for your due diligence. We did hear a lot at the last meeting, and that's why I originally raised my hand to see what the concerns were, but you highlighted them very well and made changes to the plan. So I really wanted to say thank you for that. But I do have a couple of questions. Do urban renewal plans only focus on downtown normally?
I'll let Amanda speak to the specific question, but the immediate answer is no. There's a number of plans throughout the city that are not incorporated in the downtown. You might want to give examples of a couple.
Yeah, we have quite a few throughout the city. West Columbus Avenue is an example of that. SRA was involved with the building of the Basketball Hall of Fame and other developments. And Lucy Map.
Outside downtown. She's asking outside.
Oh, sorry, outside of downtown. Lucy Mallory is an example. It's in East Springfield. We also have Brightwood. There's in other neighborhoods. Indian Orchard, Mason Square. All of them, we're updating our SRA website, so you can find a lot of the mapping and associated urban renewal plans that are active currently on the city website.
So they're active. Do they go through the same process, like reviewing the plan every so often?
Yes, they do have durations. As you do major plan amendments, there's opportunity to extend plans based on different activities.
So if I might add, for example, Councilor Whitfield, there's extensive activity that's happening in terms of development up in Mason Square. And we would review the plan to make sure it's consistent with the development objectives for that particular area of the city, and if not, we would look to update that either through a minor plan amendment or a major plan amendment that ultimately gets approved by the state.
Okay, and all of the plans are on the SRA website?
Yes, all the active plans.
Okay, and then my second question is, How would investors know where to find the information on vacant buildings, lots, or underused buildings and lots as well?
The plan itself has an inventory, Counselor, of properties, as we've discussed, of the potential properties to be acquired. It also has a listing of all the properties that are in the plan area.
Okay, well, I thank you for your work. I did get a phone call if I was attending the meeting with the businesses, and then I reached out to you and you guys said that it was specifically to like listen to the businesses and things like that. So I know I have been, and I definitely thank you for listening to our small business owners and our residents in the city of Springfield and changing the plan accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Davila, followed by Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Tim. Good to see you again. I have a few questions. First, I'm glad to see that this plan is going to be revisited every 5 years, I believe, or so, for adjustments if needed. And also, I'm very pleased to see that you guys met, I think, 3 times with the businesses, because I know they came in and they expressed a lot of concerns. But that's speaking to that, my first question is, are we ending up taking any of the businesses by eminent domain, any of the land?
It's premature, Counselor, to make that determination simply because there's at this point in time, there's no approved development plan that's ultimately looking to put a footprint within the plan area. So there is not an intention right now to advance with eminent domain taking on any of the properties except for the property that the council already approved within the plan area for eminent domain taking on 22 Falcon Way.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Tim. Now, Tim, I don't know if you could answer this question, or maybe the gentleman, Mr. President, that gave the online presentation. They talked about reclassification of 2 historic structures changing from demolition to rehab. That's music to my ears. Can you identify what those 2 structures are?
One of I believe the structures were on Upper Lyman Street. We had them on the to be acquired and demolition. We changed that over based on the Preservation Trust's interest in the properties for preservation. But they're on that upper end of Lyman Street, if I'm correct. Jeff, can you expound on that?
Yeah, I don't have the exact addresses in front of me. Tim Brangle might, but one of them was on Lyman. It was an old, I'd call it garage-looking type structure, 1 story, and it had Art Deco characteristics of it that were worthy of preservation.
Okay.
And the other building was, I believe, a block away. Tim Brangle, can you help me on that one?
Yeah, I believe 179 Taylor. I was just checking real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, similarly, it had some architectural features and character that we agree. I think it's always the policy within their renewal plan to promote preservation first. I think some of these fell outside of that 100-year rule. But again, with that great, some input and re-looking at those buildings, they do have some character that might lend themselves to a nice renovation. So those, yeah, for those reasons, they were changed and actually fall in line now more with the strategy of preservation throughout.
Very well. Thank you so much. And my final question, Tim, is they talked about parking and you underutilized parcels for parking. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because we all know that parking is an issue in downtown, huge issue.
The need for parking from a development standpoint is a necessary evil for sure. And ultimately being able to have accessible parking is clearly a need. But what we're looking at is basically consolidating the parking needs into structured parking as opposed to having numerous surface parking lots throughout an entire district, and better organizing the parking resource to serve the area in a much more efficient and appropriate land use manner.
So basically, if I understand correctly, Tim, you're saying that we're going to do garage-style parking, hopefully more than one throughout downtown?
And you could even get, for some of these areas, they're not necessarily going to be looking at, the type of garage that the Civic Center, the redevelopment of the Civic Center garage. It could be, decked parking.
Did you say deck parking?
Deck, just a parking deck. So you have a couple of surfaces over the underlying
I
land.
understand. Got you. Thank you, Tim. Tim, I bring it up because we all know that parking for years has been an issue here in downtown. And do we have identified how many possible parking parcels we're going to be using, or is that depending on the projects?
Do we have identified parking parcels?
Yes.
That aren't already parking?
That might be already parking, or that could function as a parking parcel.
Yes, actually, we are looking at, if Tim Brangle, can you go back to the slide across from MGM?
Yes, 1 second, please.
So as he's bringing that back up,
sure.
You'll recall that the Mass Gaming Commission awarded the city funding to take a look at the consolidation of parking resources for that whole Willow Street area. Mm-hmm. And we did the first phase of that parking analysis, and now it's getting into design and looking at how that ultimately could get financed. And Tim, can you just run a cursor over what we're talking about in terms of all that surface parking lot back there?
Yeah, so you have actually a number of parcels here that are parking, including, this is actually slightly old, 24 Park is down now as well. So there's an abundance of surface lots back here, again, that we have looked at in the past for potential parking. You also asked about numbers. I know in this area, again, we looked at the demand generated from the Main Street and Convention District plan, and that's anywhere from 400 to 600 spaces, inclusive of assumed redevelopment and reuse of these buildings that also are vacant today. So the thought is you're not going to fit that all in surface lots, nor would you want to, but the consolidation of that into stacked structured parking, ideally with development incorporated into it, a mixed use project would be perfect in this area.
We were actually surprised that the analysis came back with a number that was that high, and that's in addition to the new construction of the Mass Convention Center garage.
Right. If you indulge me, Mr. President, with my last question, Tim, I'm going to give you a call offline because I do. That's a serious concern of mine. The parking in downtown is all of us concerns, for that matter. But you might know or may not know that this Saturday apparently there was a big issue here in downtown with traffic, particularly in the MGM garage where people were stuck in traffic for 30, 45 minutes. I had a conversation with MGM today, and they were telling me it's a fallout from the lack of parking spots that we lost from the demolition of the Mass Mutual Convention Center. And so to me, this is a long-term project. I would love to kind of brainstorm with you guys to see how we can come up with a temporary solution, because the truth is that we cannot have bottleneck parking, particularly that close to the highway. That area, 91 North, is Columbus Main Street, is often used by emergency vehicles to go to the hospital, and it's just simply stated something that cannot happen. I got calls that people were bottlenecked for 45 minutes. It's not good. It's not a good thing for the casino. It's not a good thing for the city. I think it was a number of things that led to it, but it seems to me that at least in the long term, you guys are with a good plan. But I would love to have an offline conversation, although I do intend to have a public safety meeting on this particular issue of the bottleneck issue on the parking. Then maybe we can come up with a solution to ease the traffic and to make people's experience here in our great city much, much better. So if you have any comment, I would love to hear you.
I would welcome that opportunity, Councilor.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mr. President. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Counselor Davila. Counselor Govan, followed by Counselor Allen. I almost combined all three of your names there at one point. Counselor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to also echo what Counselor Whitfield said, and I commend you guys for, Amanda and Tim, for following through and listening to the businesses, listening to our concerns. And it looks like you guys really put a good plan together, and the team that you're working with. I have a few questions regarding this area right here. As we know, there's a big homeless population. I don't know if you're working with anyone, maybe Commissioner Carlton Harris possibly, to figure out a way to help that population, because as we know, usually when something like this happens, like what happened to MGM, the population moves up maybe State Street or to other areas. And I know there's no way that we can eliminate it totally, but if there's any way that you can work with some departments, or if there's any plans to do that.
Within my division is the housing department of the city, and we are in constant communication with Friends of the Homeless in terms of ensuring that, you know, the needs of the homeless population are being met through the Friends of the Homeless as much as possible, and that some of the activity that's happening as a result of having the shelter there is mitigated to the maximum degree that it can be in terms of its impact on the surrounding businesses as well. But yes, I mean, the long-term intention is, and it was quite clear in the plan, the rescue mission was not ever put on any list as, you know, a to-be-acquired property, and nor, although it's outside of the district, the Friends of the Homeless was never considered as, you know, moving that out of the way.
Okay, great, thank you. And then speaking of the acquired, to-be-acquired list, so the small businesses that were removed from that list, what exactly does that mean?
So if the SRA had an intent to acquire those properties in the future, it would have to go through a major plan amendment and start this process all over again in terms of going through the approval process with you folks and the approval process with the state. You know, so it gives them a sense of comfort that you only want to really be going through this process in terms of major plan amendments only when absolutely necessary.
Excellent, and I really appreciate that because you heard them, and that's great. Is there any way, like because I think some of the small businesses that day talked about that they've been needing help with, you know, keeping things up. Is there any way that they might be able to get some assistance if they needed it during this whole process?
Yeah, and I mean, there's assistance that we have right now that, you know, we would encourage them to apply for and have. You know, we have a pretty significant resource in terms of our storefront assistance program. You know, again, I think I know our intent is actually to draw more customers to those businesses that basically uplifts their boat as the area is being uplifted as well. And I think, you know, the early seeds of that have been seen with Willie's Overland. I mean, especially, you know, with the repair businesses. I mean, how convenient can it be? You literally drop your car off across from where you live and you pick it back up.
Right,
So.
yeah. That's great. And again, thank you so much and for listening to the Historic Commission and the Preservation Trust. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Those are my questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Allen?
Thanks, Mr. President. I was, you know, listening to Counselor Davila's questions and Counselor Govan's questions, and I've attended a couple of meetings that Counselor Edwards ran on this. I'm just thinking at this point that we've got good questions. There will always be good questions out there, but the issue tonight is passing this thing so that I know I've talked to Mr. Sheehan a couple times myself about this. So I was just thinking with four or five items still on the agenda tonight, one of which is the friendlies one, that I was going to suggest that I make a motion to call the question.
second the motion.
Motion has been made to call the question. Motion has been properly seconded by Counselor Edwards. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on moving the question.
On moving the question, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letter.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The motion will now be called. Madam Clerk, please call the roll to approve the order, item 13.
On approving the order, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The amendment is approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Next item is a special permit to amend an existing special permit granted in April 2019 at the property known as 93 and 97 Wilbraham Road.
This is a special permit hearing that was continued from our last hearings meeting. The hearing remains open. At this time, we'll ask the proponents to step forward and provide any further relevant testimony relative to their special permit application that has occurred since the last hearing. The floor is yours. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, President. Good evening, committee. My name is Leonardo Jimenez. I'm followed by my father, Antonio Jimenez. And we are at the lot of 93 to 97 Wilbraham Road. So last time we had the meeting, it was requested by a part of the committee to sit down with the neighborhood council so they could take a look at the lot. And we had a talk with them, and they saw things that needed to get improved. We worked on those things. And the lot is for 5 cars. That's the permit we're looking to get, which is just a re-amendment, just with my name under it. And we've been followed through with that process.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to provide any further testimony in support of your special permit application?
I think we're all set.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any opponents present? Seeing none, are there any opponents present virtually? Seeing none, are there any questions while the hearing remains open for the applicants? I'll recognize Counselor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Were you guys able to ever talk to the city as far as expanding it at all?
What was that?
Your location.
I'm sorry, I think Counselor Brown's question was, did you have any conversations with the city relative to expanding the number of cars present? Is that accurate,
yes.
Counselor Brown?
The process that we wanted to do first was to accept the 5 car permits, and then furthermore work on maybe in a couple months or so expand to try to hopefully get 10 to 12 because it is a bigger lot, and we're making the adjustments for that.
Okay. I basically had a chance to go and look at the property. They have done extensive repairs and cleaning. They were able to also meet with some of the abutters. So as far as I know that the business owner, was it your father? Was he the owner of the Spanish restaurant on Carew Street?
Yes, sir. My father has been doing business in the city of Springfield since about 2001. He's owned a restaurant on Carew Street called El Pilon. And since about 2004, we had a grocery store called Tropical Food Market on 343 Wilbraham Road. So my goal is to continue doing business in Springfield and doing it the correct way.
So as far as, as far as my research and even doing my research on this particular individual in front of the council, I know his dad is looking to continue the actual service and teaching his son business and everything. And he is a good person when it comes to the community. I know that he does work with a lot of the different Black men of Springfield, I want to say, different committees out there. So as far as businessmen, they're definitely well respected in the community, the Black and brown community. And this is something that I definitely will support, and I would ask my colleagues to support this. Thank you for stepping up to the plate, and good luck to you. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Are there any further questions for the petitioner while the hearing remains open? Councilor Davila, followed by Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Mr. Jimenez, and welcome. So just want to be clear, so you're asking for a permit for motor vehicle sales and motor vehicle repairs, correct?
Correct.
And you're going to be selling up to 5 cars for now in that lot, with plans to expand into the future up to 12, right?
Correct, sir.
Okay. And how many bays do you have for the repairs?
For the repairs, we have 2 bays.
You have 2 bays, okay. And how many cars can you store there waiting to be repaired?
Are you talking by the permit or as an estimate?
Oh, I'm going to say because I know, but what I'm getting at, because after a while, if you have a car there waiting to be repaired for a year, that could become a junkyard.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying about the junkyard, but as of right now, we have no employees, so we don't need any employee parking space. And we wouldn't take more cars than we can handle at that time.
Okay. This was the same use as before, right? So we're not changing.
Yes, it's the same as before, as 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm impressed with how you guys have done this. You guys are doing this the right way. Thank you for doing business in the city of Springfield. And you guys have 2 businesses here, a bodega and a restaurant. So I thank you for that. And I know that property has been empty for a little while, so I'm excited to see that something good is going to be going there. So if your presentation and your passion is any indication of how this business is going to be, I think you guys are going to be pretty successful. So I will be more than happy to vote in favor for this. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I intend to support this petition. The Jimenez family and the work that they've done in the city of Springfield is admirable, and I want to thank these 2 individuals, particularly for coming forward tonight and at our last meeting with this application. I guess I would just bring this as an open question, sort of directed towards Councilor Brown. The petition before us has a restriction for 5 cars. The applicant is saying that there's a request or pending desire to make it 12 in the future. And looking at the lot, there's more than enough space for 12 cars to be sold. I'm not sure that there's enough space for 12 cars to be listed and have the associated auto repair business. But I would just like to point out that, if the neighborhood or the district councilor was comfortable with increasing the number, we could do that at this time from 5 to a number larger than 5 if he wanted to do that. And if we don't, and we leave it at the 5, and the Jimenez family wants to come back in the future with a request to make it 12, then unfortunately we would have to start that process all over again. There would be another $500 filing fee for the special permit. And in addition, there'd be over $1,000 in the notice fees that go in the Springfield Republican newspaper. So if the goal is to make it 12 and people are comfortable with 12, then I think we should have a motion to make it 12. But I would defer to the ward counselor on this.
Thank you, Councilor Fenton. I'll certainly give leave to Councilor Brown to respond if he wishes. I'll also inform councilors who may not be aware that Phil Dromey is present virtually, and he does now currently have his hand up. So if anybody does wish to recognize Phil, he is here. But at this time, Councilor Brown, if you wish to respond to Councilor Fenton's request.
Thank you, Mr. President. And looking at the actual facility on the grounds, it could hold probably about like 25 cars, and easily, and still be able to even do their actual repair stuff. But what it is, I believe that it's still just a matter of them just wanting to keep at a certain pace. I wouldn't be in opposition of it. I don't think the community would be in opposition of it. I think it's probably more about the petitioner and the son, the petitioner, and them wanting to just make sure that they do it at a certain pace so they don't make any mistakes. They just kind of don't want to be overwhelmed yet. It was my understanding. Am I correct, or was it still something you guys? I'm talking to the petitioner, if I may.
You are correct, sir. Because in the past the permit was 25 cars before we had the lot. When the petitioner before me, he applied for 5. So we have spoken with people who understand the dealership and the space, and they said it could hold up to like 25, like you said, but we would like to go for moderate size if 12 is fine.
Councilor Brown, does that conclude your remarks?
What I'm saying is 12 something that you guys really want to push for now, or was it something, because it was my understanding from last meeting with you guys wanted, it was just a matter of you guys.
Yes, we're looking to go to 12.
So I would like to make a motion to allow the petitioner to go to 12. Phil?
Well, yeah, councilors, I've got to jump in here. The issue with the number of vehicles is not the special permit. The site is currently zoned Business A. Business A only allows 5 cars as an accessory sale.
Okay.
I've had this conversation a number of times with the original petitioner that if they want to expand, that's great, but they're going to have to come in and apply for a zone change to Business B, because the city council does not have the authority to extend the number of vehicles in a Business A zone.
Okay. So basically, Phil, there's nothing, so we would just have to basically stay with the 5, and they would have to go through it anyways, correct?
Yeah, if they want to come to this, and again, I've had this conversation over a couple of years now, that if they would like to expand, that's certainly an option they have, but the first process they would need to do is get the property rezoned.
All right, thank you, Phil. And just to reiterate, I know with the actual petitioner, they're not too upset about starting with 5 and then doing the process anyway. So it still would be something that I would support, and I thank the petitioners for being here, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Thank you, Councilor Fenton. Next in line to comment is Councilor Govan. I just remind councilors that the hearing is still currently open. We are still collecting evidence. Once we are done questioning the petitioner relative to the hearing, we will close the hearing, at which time we could entertain any questions, comments, deliberation, or amendments. So the hearing is currently open. Councilor Govan.
I just wanted clarification from the petitioner if they wanted the 12 cars on the lot. Sounds like you do. However, we can't do that today because there needs to be a zone change, it sounds like. Okay, yes. Thank you. That was my
correct.
comments.
Is there any further questions from any councilors? Councilor Perez.
I just want to say that I know the owners while they were in Carew Street. They, actually, I missed them. The business was well taken. The community still missed the business and the food, and they kept the area very neat in terms of cleanliness, and I will support voting in favor tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Perez. Are there any further questions for the petitioner while the hearing remains open? Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is more for you. There's an unknown person on the Zoom, and it's 65396. And I would like to know who that is. I feel uncomfortable. This person hasn't shown themselves the whole meeting, and I don't know who that is. And I tried to send you a message, but not sure.
Could whoever is currently identified as 65396 identify yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's Attorney Shea, Councilor Whitfield. It's Attorney Shea. My apologies.
Thank you.
Focus, if you could rename Attorney Shea aptly. Councilor Whitfield, did you have further questions on the petition?
I did not. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. It's appreciated. Are there any further questions for the petitioner? Seeing no further questions relative to the hearing at this time, without objection, I will declare that the public hearing is now closed. Is there any further debate amongst the council prior to voting on the special permit? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to approve the special permit. 2/3 vote is required.
On approving the special permit, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The special permit is approved. Congratulations.
Thank you, President. Thank you, committee. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Councilor Perez on the reasons.
On the reasons for granted permit, number one, the specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. Number two, the use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Number three, adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use.
Thank you.
Number four, to incorporate the planning staff analysis into the decision at the basis of the findings.
Thank you, Councilor Perez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept the reasons.
On accepting the reasons, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The reasons are approved. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Next item is an ordinance amending Chapter 385 of the revised ordinance of the city, also known as the Speed Hump Ordinance.
Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This matter is on for second and third step. I would just ask for everybody's support tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Fenton. Is there any debate, questions, comments, amendments from the council? Seeing none. Without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on second and third step for item 15.
On item 15, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The ordinance is approved. Is there a motion to invoke Rule 22C to allow the ordinance to pass tonight?
So moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion was made by Counselor Whitfield, and it was seconded by
Say,
So
Counselor Govan. Is there any discussion on the motion to invoke Rule 22C? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll on invoking Rule 22C.
On invoking 22C, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. Rule 22C is invoked. Madam Clerk, please call item 16.
Item 16 is an ordinance amending Chapter 178 of the Code of the City of Springfield, also known as the Dumpster Ordinance.
Counselor Fenton.
Motion to committee.
Second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Fenton to send the item to committee. There is a second by Counselor Edwards. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the
Mr.
roll.
President,
Counselor Davila on the
quick-
motion.
My apologies. Quick question. This was already sent to committee once, right?
Yes, Counselor Davila. This was introduced, sent to committee, returned to the floor for a vote, passed first step, went to
Passed
general
first step,
government
gotcha.
automatically,
Okay.
and now is here for second and third step.
Gotcha.
Motion has been made to refer to committee.
Thank you, Mr.
This will be our third committee meeting on it.
Is there any further discussion on the motion to refer this back to the General Government Committee? Seeing no further questions or debate on the motion to refer this item to the General Government Committee, Madam Clerk, without objection, please call the roll to refer this item to the General Government Committee.
On referring the item to committee, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
No, the votes are sufficient. The item is referred to committee. Madam Clerk, the next item is on under suspension. It will require unanimous consent of the council to proceed to it. Is there any objection to proceeding to item 17?
What is it?
Item 17 is an order of taking of land at 65 Sumner Avenue. Seeing no objection, then at this time, Madam Clerk, please call item 17.
Item 17 is the order of taking of land of 65 Sumner Avenue.
CAFO Plant.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an order to have a friendly eminent domain taking of 65 Sumner Avenue in the former Friendlies to be used for parking for the Sumner Ave School to mitigate traffic. It's agreed upon price of $1.1 million. The money's been set aside since last June, and we're hoping that we can move forward with the friendly eminent domain taking.
Thank you, CAFO Plant. Are there any questions? Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I stated in my committee reports, the administration, I believe TJ was there himself, met with the Forest Park Civic Association. They were able to give their feedback, and they did vote to support this project. As I mentioned, from the public safety standpoint, this makes sense because it's going to allow for the school buses pick up and drop off to the kids. As I mentioned, the area from Friendlies down to Long Hill Street is a very challenging area. They do pose a real safety issue. Go forbid one of the kids get hit or somebody gets hit there during pickup or drop off. Also, it's going to be adding an extra 80 parking spots to the city. They're going to keep the building. It's going to be used. The building itself is going to be used for office space and for some sort of a virtual school / virtual remote project the school department is looking to engage in. Also, Mr. President, they're going to be allowing for parking during winter. The total cost is mentioned. It's $1,125,000. I think that's a split in the difference. I think it came back at 1.3. And so the Forest Park Civic Association and myself support this project I wish we could pay a little less on the building, but with the market, it is what it is. And so, but every money is going to be worth if we can facilitate and make it safer for our kids. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Is there any further debate? Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to first say that I will defer to Councilor Davila's judgment on this. So I support the order, and it's his district and has spent a lot of time vetting this appropriately. My only question is that if it's under suspension and it's a real estate taking, I'm just concerned about open meeting law. I mean, if it was a lesser power we were exercising, maybe like a small few $1,000s transfer or something, I wouldn't be as concerned. But the fact that this is under suspension tonight and we're taking title to real estate that costs millions of dollars, I wonder if there's any concern about having it on in a way that's under suspension. So is there anybody who can speak to when it was added to the agenda and whether or not we have any legal issues with doing this tonight? I just don't know why it's on under suspension and not under our regular agenda.
Councilor Fenton, it is on under suspension due to a miscommunication when the agenda was approved as a result of the holiday that existed. And so it was not added to the agenda until Friday night. Certainly, if there is a concern relative to it being executed this evening, we can execute it at our next meeting on Monday, a week from today.
I mean, it's not, that's not my place to say. I won't say whether or not it's okay to do. I would just ask that, why don't we approve it tonight? And if there's an issue between now and the next meeting, the law department can put it on and we'll reaffirm the vote. That would make me comfortable.
Thank you, Councilor Fenton. Are there any further questions, comments, or debate? Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to be clear, so I recommend to move forward today, and if there's any issue, that's the part that I missed, Mr. President, that if there's an issue, we can revote. If you're Councilor Fenton, if you could clarify.
Councilor Fenton.
That would be my proposal. That would be my suggestion, that we just adopt it tonight under suspension, and then in the meantime, make sure that the law department is okay with it. And if there's any concern, then we can just reaffirm the vote at a properly noticed meeting in the future.
I would love to pass this today, Mr. President, but we do have a fiduciary obligation. Perhaps it's appropriate if Attorney Shea is on the line, maybe he can chime in and give us his thoughts.
Attorney Shea. Attorney Shea, I can see you're on, and I can see that your camera is on. However, you are not unmuted.
Am I on now?
You are now on.
Okay, I would suggest that we follow Counselor Fenton's recommendation, and we can get a clear answer for you right away. But off the top of my head, I too would question whether or not there's an issue, and I don't want to make that call. Okay? Did you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Attorney Shea. Thank you very much. Councilor Fenton, does that conclude your remarks?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further questions, comments, or debate? All right. And I will commit to placing it on the agenda for the following Monday if we do need to. Councilor Davila. In response to Councilor Fenton's suggestion that if the legal opinion returns stating that we need to notice again, I'm committed to doing that. Thank you, Councilor Davila. Any further questions, comments, or debates on the order? Seeing none, without objection, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on approving the taking.
On approving the taking, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click-Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes, the votes are sufficient. The taking is approved. Madam Clerk, is there any other business properly brought before this council?
There is not.
Seeing none, we will now stand adjourned until our hearings meeting next Monday. Thank you.